Check. Check, 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 check.
From Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded Saturday, 9 June 2012, episode 19, At the Movies. Well, welcome once again. I am your host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with
Robert Garza.
And we are two guys who dive. So here we are. We're all the way up to episode 19.
Wow. Whoever thought we would get up that far that fast, huh?
No kidding. Yeah. After what, 19 weeks?
After 19 weeks.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Actually, I thought it was longer. I thought we skipped a week. But no, we didn't. Now that I think about it, we actually recorded a day later one time.
Right. Now, we missed a live podcast, but we were able to put the recording up, so that was good.
Yeah.
So, how was your week this week?
It was interesting, being the fact that, well, I work for the school district, so there's no kids, at school. The custodians are cleaning the campuses and doing their thing.
Does that mean they weren't doing it when the kids were there?
Well, no, they were doing it when they were there, but they take advantage and do the buffing and the waxing of the floors and the cleaning of the furniture and everything when the students are away, because it's the best time to do it. And they're actually enrolling for the summer school program right now at the high school.
When does that actually start?
It starts this coming week. I'm not sure if it's Monday or Tuesday, but I know that it is sometime this week. So they're gearing up for that. So pretty much all week I've just been there at an empty campus twiddling my thumbs for 10 hours.
Literally twiddling your thumbs?
Literally.
Or doing stuff on your phone?
No.
Or your iPad or whatever you're using.
You know, you can only surf the net for so long on a restricted network before you get tired of going through.
What kind of data package do you have?
Well, no, I mean, not on my phone. I'm talking there on the campus, you know, using the computer, you know. Everything's restricted, you know. It's like Big Brother's watching.
So you have like your own office, that kind of thing, or what?
Well, we kind of congregate on an empty classroom that's not being worked on, and we just kind of hide in there for a while.
Now that this is...
it's out there.
It's out.
Sorry, guys.
The jig is up.
Yeah. But no, it's been a good week. You know, I was ill 2 weeks ago, and I'm still, you know, ironically enough, I'm still getting over all of that. It's been a bad bug. Apparently, a lot of people have been getting sick.
And you brought it into the studio.
No, I didn't. No, I'm medicated, but you know, it's the effects of the
better
medication.
living through chemistry, right?
Exactly. You know, we saw a movie on that just yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Prometheus.
Oh, that's right. We're going to talk about that, but don't jump the gun.
No, it just the medication that I was on was kind of strong, so it, you know, didn't go too well with my stomach. You know, I felt kind of nauseated.
Oof. Yeah, I try to stay off meds as much as possible. There are times where you just simply have to, but...
you know, I tend to get sick. You know, unfortunately, I have bad tonsils, and I'm looking on getting them removed this coming summer. But I'm trying to
Coming to a summer theater near you, Robert gets his tonsils removed.
Yeah, you know, hopefully, maybe...
Those outrageous incisors. Those tonsils, man.
You know,
I'm telling you, if they were made out of cheese, would you eat them?
I actually would cut them out myself and eat them, but, you know...
There's probably people going, ew.
Well, the way I felt 2 weeks ago, trust me, I really wanted to take a scalpel to them. But 3 times a year, and I'm already getting kind of tired of this. You know, it's becoming monotonous, you know, just constantly getting sick. And I'm just to the point already to where, you know what, let's cut them babies out.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that it's really painful and it's dangerous as you get older. But everything that I've been reading on the internet, and of course the internet's gospel, right?
That's right. It's in there. It must be true.
It must be true, guys. No, but everybody that I've spoken to is kind of like with the new technologies that are available now. You know, it's gonna hurt, of course, but there's less bleeding involved. You know, the healing process is a lot faster now, thanks to lasers and whatnot.
We don't have med beds yet, so
yeah, we don't have those yet. You know, that was pretty impressive. But
we won't talk about that just yet.
No, that
throwing a teaser.
I was impressed. Let me tell you,
that was cool.
You know,
a little unbelievable. Again,
but anyway, so I'm looking at getting those things taken out, and this time was kind of a little bit worse than I've felt in a while. I literally. Tonsils were so swollen that...
How swollen were they?
I couldn't swallow anything. I couldn't swallow any food.
Oof.
It was literally...
Sipping through a straw for you, bud.
Yeah, it was literally liquid.
Hate that.
So it was...
It was like when I had one of my teeth extracted. I was like, okay, I can't chew anything. You can't swoosh. They couldn't... As a matter of fact, I couldn't even use a straw. They said don't use a straw because it would create suction. It would like pull the stitches and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, great. So just sip. That was not good. I hated it.
Yeah,
hated it.
It's not cool, but anyway, that's been.
I had my tonsils out when I was 5 years old. I remember. Yes, I remember it well. I had chronic tonsillitis. I mean, I had it time after time after. It wasn't severe, but it was just so frequent. The doctors finally said, you know what, he is always going to have problems with this. At 5 years old, if you're already having problems with him.
Well, they had told my parents when I was like, I want to say it was 5 or 6, that they needed to come out. My father didn't want to do it. You know, he didn't want to put me through the pain. So he figured, you know what, I don't want to put him through the pain, so I'll just let him suffer the rest of his life.
So it becomes more painful later.
Exactly.
You know, why is it that so many procedures seem to be much easier when you're younger? You know, is it that we just don't remember the pain, or not all of our nerve endings are fully firing, and so it's not as painful? What?
You know, it's kind of funny you bring that up, because I was thinking that myself not too long ago. They do a lot of things to kids nowadays, and you know, they get shots in the legs, and you know, my little boy and everything.
Shot to the heart. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and
80s flashback.
And it's weird because you know they get them and they they forget. You know, their leg is sore, but they're still running around. And
how did that happen?
Well, and it's kind of
how many? You're a parent because you probably have run into this. How many times does your kid come in like with this wound, and you're going, "How did you get that?" I don't know.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that
I don't remember.
Yeah, they come in and
Daddy.
they come in and they're all bleeding, and they're like, "Hey, what happened there?" And they look down. They didn't even realize it until they see the blood, and
now
then
they start crying.
Oh,
blood. Well, you know, the thing is, they typically will react based on your reaction. Mm-hmm. So it's really tough for a parent to put the brakes on the initial reaction when they see a kid fall, and they're like, "Ooh!" There's like that slow motion leap to save their child. You know, they get a scrape or a bump or they're bleeding a little bit. It's no big deal. But at first is the shock to them. They're like, and then they get their cue from the parent who's going, oh, freaking out. And that's what they're reacting to. So generally, they're going to have the initial, play. You know, I'm not going to have a play unless you create a scene about it, and then they're going to milk that.
Yeah, well, you know, and I got a feeling maybe that's why they wanted these operations to the children when they're younger, even though, you know, it's more traumatic to the parent seeing their kids in the hospital.
This is going to hurt me more than it does you.
But it really, truly, I think, I mean, they took yours out at 5, and I'm sure you remember some of the pain, but...
I do, but, you know, I actually have somewhat fond memories because it's a comedic... It's a comedic episode in my life because, you know, you don't know. 5 years old, you know, my parents were doing the whole, but you'll get lots of chocolate ice cream.
Right.
I'm thinking, okay, great, because, you know, I love chocolate ice cream. So I'm all excited. You know, I knew it was going to be painful. They did tell me that, but the thought about, chocolate ice cream. So I go in, and I remember them laying me out, and they were doing the gas. So they're putting me out, and at that point, fear was starting to mount. I remember, okay, I don't want to do this. And he's like, okay, just breathe normally and count to 10. No. So, and I'm like, I'm not going to breathe normally. So I take a breath and I hold it.
Oh.
And of course, he already has the mask on me. So stupid me thinking, I'm taking a big old lungful of this anesthesia. I'm like, bye-bye. I'm out. Now, the next thing I remember, I'm waking up, and that kind of groggy medicine head kind of feel. And I was in a room, I'm pretty sure I was sharing it with at least one other kid. And I'm kind of waking up. I'm like, I felt the soreness. And so I kind of groaned. And I'm like, then that was painful just doing that. And then I swallowed, which was more painful. And that made me groan some more. It was like, oh, nope, it was like one of those perpetuating things. And I did not want. They tried to give me a little bowl of the chocolate ice cream, and it was because it was so cold. It was too painful to even eat that ice cream. I was like, "This is cruel." You tell me I'm going to get chocolate ice cream, and then I don't want it after the surgery. I was like, "This is wrong."
You know,
but I did get a cool toy. I got one of those little stick deals. They had different wheels on them, had different squiggly lines on them.
Oh yeah,
and you'd roll it in the ink, and then you could do like this on the paper.
Yeah,
I remember that vividly.
You know, I've been going through this for so long as an adult, you know, and I think now that I'm a little older, you know, I tend to have, you know, even though my wife may disagree with me, I tend to have a high tolerance for pain, you know. And
let's find out.
Cut me, just cut me.
Just slice it off.
And, you know, I think I'd probably be a little more cautious not to hurt myself. You know, as a kid, you'd probably be like, you know, really not remember, you know,
right.
You try to start talking or you're coughing, and of course as you're an adult you're gonna know that if you do that it's gonna hurt, so you're just gonna sit there and like, don't talk to me.
Shh. Yeah, no kidding.
You know, but yeah, I'm looking at probably in the fall. I think I'm gonna go for it
after the dive season.
Right, probably late or probably mid August, because a friend of mine said that it was probably a week and a half of pain for him. And then after that, he was...
How old was he when he had it done?
He just had it done 6 years ago.
Ooh.
So, you know, he had it done as an adult. And that's when he said, you know, it was hellacious pain. He said not so much ice cream, but he said those little ice pops.
Yeah.
He said after 2 of them would numb his throat. And he said it was great.
I guess I couldn't get past that initial, the cold hurts, you know.
The cold, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Wow.
All right.
So I don't envy you. Although I have to admit, it's been great never having issues after that. You know, I had, plenty of other childhood maladies, but that was, it was great not having that issue.
Right. And of course, it's a big problem with me during the spring and the fall season, because as the weather's changing, I get sick.
Yeah.
And I sometimes around June or July, I may get a sniffle here and there, but I know the common cold's not going to be a problem. The thing is, the minute I get a cold, it infects my tonsils, and then from that, it affects my chest, and then there you go.
Because the tonsils are kind of like your appendix. They collect junk. They're like the little vacuum cleaner for your mouth. Yeah. So they collect all this stuff, and so anything that's going on in your sinus cavity, etc., all collects there. Mm-hmm. Now, the downside, of course, of not having the tonsils, if they're functioning properly, the downside of not having them is, of course, all of that stuff that they normally would accumulate and break up and you would pass through your system has to go somewhere. And so you can have a tendency towards, upper respiratory or other types of throat infections, etc.
Yeah, well, I already have that, So.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'll trade once in a while having something like that for in place of the frequent pain of tonsillitis any day of the week.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Wow. So the title of the episode this week is At the Movies. We wanted to just kind of discuss a few of the recent movies. Did we talk about Avengers or Battleship last time?
Well, I haven't gone to go see Battleship, and that was part of the thing, And
I was gonna bring that up. Oh, so did you see MIB 3?
No.
So, dude, you were supposed to see those this week.
I know. It's just, getting off of work. It's been...
What? You got your evenings, man.
I know. The thing is I get off of work kind of late at 5, then dinner by
kind of late? That's a normal, no, 9 to 5? That's a normal.
That's late. 9 to 5, I go in at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I mean, that's a normal time to get off. Movies don't start till like 7:30.
Yeah, I know. I just been, I don't know. I guess I want to say that I've been so not busy at work that I've gotten lazy. You ever had that? You're so bored.
I can't say I've ever had that problem.
You're so bored that you get exhausted from doing nothing.
That's what you plan. You go, okay, I'm going to go see this movie. Dude.
Yeah, no. I have no excuse.
No kidding.
I'm sorry. No excuse.
You said you were going to see it. I was like, okay, cool. We'll have a movie review.
But I did go see Prometheus.
Yes. Okay. So, well, that kind of...
All right, well, even though I didn't see MIB, what was your take on the movie? What do you think?
All right. Speaking of MIB, there's the graphic for it. All right. As you can tell from the poster here, if you haven't already seen it, of course, it brings together the Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones again. I have to say, Tommy Lee was looking rather long in the tooth, and the past couple of years have not been as kind, or maybe it was intentional in the part of the makeup crew, but he was looking kind of rough.
Really?
Yeah. Will Smith, I don't think he looked anything like he does in this poster. Here, this looks like a skinny Eddie Murphy. Don't you think? Looks like a skinny Eddie Murphy. I was like, no, he looked just like he did in the other two movies.
Okay.
Then, of course, you have Josh Brolin, who played a younger version of him. For those who have, if you've seen the trailer, you already know it's a time travel type movie. And so you have a chance for Josh Brolin to strut his acting skills in the movie and show how good he can be somebody else. And he did a remarkable job of imitating Tommy Lee Jones. He did it on a scale of success, I think, similar to the actor who probably will never be in another movie or remembered for another movie again. I can't remember his name. That's how bad it was. But the guy who played the most recent Superman, who clearly was going for a Christopher Reeves.
On the remake, Superman
Returns. That guy did a
he
phenomenal
did a
job.
great job,
Especially as Clark Kent. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. He must have studied, and I think Josh Brolin must have done the same thing. He just studied the way the other movies to get a feel for the way Tommy Lee Jones presented the character.
To me though, in the Superman movies and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, Christopher Reeves, but nobody Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor just can't be.
What?
Yeah, I liked him.
I could not stand. I don't like Gene Hackman in most movies anyway. The exception was Enemy of the State with Will Smith.
You liked him in that movie?
I liked him in the movie. That was probably one of the few movies I actually liked him in.
One of the movies that one of my all-time favorite movies, and a lot of people may not know what movie this is, but Uncommon Valor. I liked him in that one.
I vaguely remember that movie. I don't think I've seen it other than like little scenes on TV or something like that.
I actually have it on Blu-ray, and it was hard tracking it down, but I was actually amazed that I found it on Amazon. And it's a really good movie. His son gets left behind in Vietnam, and of course he was a colonel, which is kind of weird because he was a colonel during the Vietnam conflict,
right? And
his son was also a soldier during the Vietnam conflict, and gets left behind. And
who does?
His son, Gene Hackman's son, along with other men of his company,
right?
Because they're being ambushed by the Vietnamese. So
the Vietnamese.
Viet Louise.
Okay, and, quick, short. Hold that thought. Short rant. Starting here. I have certain pet peeves. You don't have this problem, but I notice this a lot in the news, in teachers, in educated people, and they will say,
educated?
Yes, they will say stupid things like Vietnamese. Like no, Vietnamese. There is no such place as Vietman. It's Vietnam, so it's Vietnamese. And I will. So
did I say it right?
No, you said it perfectly. But it cued me on that one particular. That's a trigger for me.
Oh.
You will lose intelligence notches big time if you say I can't even say. I can't even say intent. It takes me. I have to think about it to say it wrong. Vietnamese, or if you say nuclear, I will so
nuclear.
Yes, I'm like no, it's nuclear.
Nuclear.
Yes, as in the nucleus. It's not the nucleus.
Nucleod.
Nucleod.
Nucleod warfare.
But I will hear this from otherwise self-proclaimed intelligent people, and they will say nuclear. I have to admit, George Bush, old W, he said it all the time. I'm like, oh, dude, it's bad enough that you're getting lambasted for all your other sayings. You can't say a word for which you have a button that you can push. So let this be a lesson to you. Think about the words. Put it this way: nuclear. 2 words: nuclear. It's easy. That's the right word. There's no such thing as nuclear. Then there's jewelry. Jewelry. That's another one that gets me. Yes, it's jewelry. It's jewelry.
Okay, now that you're pointing all these things out, I'm going to probably get tongue-tied in a little bit.
Now, I think what trips people up on that one is they know that there is such a thing as a jeweler.
Oh,
but it is a jeweler. They'll say it jeweler as if it's like Jooler, which not is jeweler, a person who works with jewels. And the person who works with jewels or jewelry is the right word. It's not jewelry. That's like that'd be like a jewelry. That's what they're trying to create a word for. So, pet peeves.
All right, well, going back.
Okay. Anyway,
the Vietnamese conflict and
rant.
Yeah. Anyway, he, and he just can't live with the fact that his son got left behind. They're telling him
what parent wouldn't?
Right,
I mean, come on.
And well, it just happens to be that one of the members of the team from his son's unit that gets left behind.
Right.
His father is a wealthy oil tycoon from Texas. So of course he contacts the colonel and says, "You know what? I've invested X amount of money to get an SR-71 to go and do reconnaissance, and get pictures and stuff like that. And I think I know where they are." So then he goes ahead and, pretty much gets the colonel to get a bunch of men together and, mercenaries, I guess if you want to call it, to go back to Vietnam and try to find his missing son and along the colonel, the colonel's son. And along the way, it's a pretty cool movie because they go through the process of training, getting to Vietnam. Then they get, their weapons taken away. Then they got to find other means to be able to infiltrate the camp, get there. It's a great, great movie, and I think you should really check it out if you haven't already seen it.
Okay, so that's Scuba Bob's tip for the week.
Uncommon Valor.
My off-duty supervisor posted in the chat room, "How in the world did you guys get here from talking about MIB?"
We do that.
It's like the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing.
We took a turn.
Yeah, but if you follow back, if you watch the podcast later, you will see the trail that took us to Gene Hackman and ultimately to this movie.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so moving on. MIB, thank you there.
That's right. That's right. So we had MIB 3. So my take on it, without revealing too much to you, and matter of fact, we in Prometheus last night, we were sitting in front of some other friends of ours. As a matter of fact, Dr. Bauer, the dentist, and his wife.
Speaking of which, I got to go to the dentist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we go. The 6 Degrees of Kevin.
There we go. We're turning again.
That's right. Now we're going to talk about dentists. No, dentists in movies.
Dentists,
no, yes.
Dentists.
Dentists. Dennis the Menace.
Dentists.
That's right. The I mentioned to his wife, Kathy Bauer, because she liked the movie. I said, "So did you cry at the end?" She said, "No." I said, "Wow," because she seemed like the type that would probably shed a little tear. Because there's a little bit of emotional part in there towards the end. So
yeah, you were saying that you were almost at tears here.
Yeah, it was a good point. I liked the way it. I kind of saw it coming. Well, I pretty much saw the mechanism coming as far as a plot device. I wasn't prepared for that would be done that tenderly. And
ooh, nice word, tender.
Yeah, tenderoni.
Tenderoni.
Again, 80s flashback. So nice.
Okay.
Oh, I've been watching and listening intently. Y'all went way off on a rabbit trail. Yes, we do that. But
well, you know what they say, the rabbit hole gets a lot deeper.
That's true. That's true. Just look at poor Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
she
yeah.
went chasing after the rabbit. So, yeah, I like the fact that you kind of see the genesis of the way Tommy Lee Jones played the character throughout the 3 movies, especially 1 and 2, because that's where you saw a lot more of him. He wasn't as much in 3. But you see the genesis of who he was based on the way Josh Brolin. So, like, Josh Brolin was bringing this is what he was like when he's younger. He wasn't as tight. He wasn't as uptight about different things. There were certain behaviors that were very consistent. It's like, well, that hasn't changed much. But then there were other things like, what happened to you? Why did you change? And of course, he asked him that in the beginning of the movie, and he said, "There's just some things you don't want to know, that you shouldn't know, that the universe shouldn't know." And so you get to see the genesis and what the flip of the switch is for him. So it's a neat tying of all that, and I was like, oh, so now I think I have to go back and watch the first movie where we see Will Smith being brought in, and see if there's any continuity flaws, because even though you don't see that event in this movie, you hear some reference points to it. So
cool.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. It is different. It's a different flavor than the other two.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask permission to see if they'll let me go to the movies to go see it.
Wow. Okay, so
well, now you piqued my curiosity in the whole crying thing. You know, it's just.
Well, you're not as emotional, so you probably won't.
Oh, you know, somebody who's watching is gonna probably agree with you on that. They say I'm a cold. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
What, you cried at the drop of a hat, or what?
No. They say that I'm extremely cold.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You'll recognize the poignancy of it, but you probably won't get as emotional. I was like, oh.
And you know what? I'm probably one of the most misunderstood and misread people. I'm extremely emotional. I cry at movies.
Right.
Oh, even you're laughing.
Oh no, you might, or you might you might hide it, but I think you'll appreciate that it's a nice. You don't see this kind of a play on the characters or writing style in either of the other two movies. I mean,
Wow.
They have some serious parts. If you look at 1 and 2, there's serious parts throughout, and there's points where you kind of go, "Oh wow, cool," and then there's times like, "Oh, it's exciting," but you don't. This is the first time and the only time that you see them go for the heartstrings. I thought it was well done, and you see a side of Tommy Lee Jones' character that you wouldn't have recognized.
Wow.
So it was pretty good.
All right. Now, what was the next movie?
All right. Well, we were going to talk about Battleship. And I still might as well go ahead and say something about
Transformers in the ocean. That's all that is.
You would not really, not really. It kind of looks like it, but no. It's think of these ships, these alien ships, more like a humongous version of like an Osprey.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Think of it like that. Multifunction. They can shift, the tilt rotor design. So think of these like this, that they can move in a way that's just kind of. Oh, that's right. Tara has not seen it.
Oh, see, he snuck out on you too, huh, Tara?
Did you see what she said in the?
No. What did she say?
She said, I so want us to see MIB with Robert so I could peek over to see if he's crying. Nice.
You can ask Sandra, my wife. She'll tell you. I cry all the time. I do.
Just not in public.
Just not in public. I do it behind closed doors.
Well, then we need to definitely go see that, because I want to see it again, because there were some bits that I want to kind of catch back up. MIB, of course, we're back to MIB. As is pretty common for movies I go see, I want to absorb so many details. So I'll watch it a number of times to pick up stuff that I didn't catch the first time. But it particularly annoys me if I feel that I have to go see it again, because the choice of camera work or editing was such that it didn't allow me enough time to absorb. We talked about Avengers was that way. There were certain scenes that were so frenetic, and the way they did the shaky camera bit, which is a very common mechanism used in CGI and cinematography these days, creates a nice feel to it, but it's very difficult to follow details that I want to go, oh, as a matter of fact, go out on YouTube, coming over to Prometheus, there is I watched it on our TV. There is somebody got the IMAX super high res version of got a message in here.
I got a message too. I gotta say I love you too to my son Brandon. He's watching. Yeah. And my little boy Aiden, he's probably not watching. He's probably crying, wanting to watch Netflix.
I'm gonna text him back. I'm on the podcast right now. Sorry to interrupt the show, gang.
Well, to me, based on what I've seen and what I know about Battleship, I was actually really anticipating seeing something like the board game. And, even you said it yourself that really didn't have... Maybe there was one scene or one part that kind of made a...
It wasn't one scene. It was actually a pretty good chunk of the movie. It was kind of like the Hunt for Red October kind of a feel to it, but it was clearly, now that I look back at it, it was clearly here's the game right here. Here's the homage to the actual game.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, that movie has, as much as it was panned by the critics, has seen a resurgence of the game. They got the movie version of it that has all the sound effects, but even on various smartphones, you see a lot of the platforms now are kind of there's more attention to that Battleship game. Oh, so reduced price, or hey, we've added this, updated it with this, these sound effects or something like that. Or I know the Windows Phone version of it, they've made the ability where you can actually play player to player.
Oh, wow.
Not just against a computer, and you can go through the Xbox. I'm like, okay, cool. So even though the movie was panned, the game has seen a resurgence.
Yeah. And I remember I bought the board game a long time ago, and I actually still have it. And the newer ones that came out before the movie did were kind of made kind of crappy. It wasn't the same type of material. The one that I have has a plastic box that you open up and the little pegs and everything.
Yes.
The newer ones are real. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And I have one of the older ones that still has the hard plastic, cases. Yep. So I actually put that away because my little boys were playing with it, and I was like, "Don't lose the pegs and stuff,"
No, it had the pegs, or it had the little ships had the different.
Well, it had the ships, but it also has the red pegs and the white pegs.
Yeah.
So they don't. The newer ones don't come that way. So actually,
how does it work with the newer one?
They're different. The little things are different. So I put that thing away, because I figure, what, they don't make them like that anymore, and I don't want to mess it up, even though they call me the hoarder at home,
Nice.
What? You better not have sold it in the garage sale. My wife just texted me saying she sold it.
Ooh. Do you need to be excused?
Yeah, I'll be back. I gotta go.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
But
anyway.
That is a classic. That is classic.
So, and some of the little toys that I actually have, like you, I collect, some of these little. Although you keep yours still in the little packages, mine, some of them I have open.
Yeah, like my Star Trek ones are all open.
Yeah, so I have the actual model ships.
Yeah.
That I've had for a while, and I was actually looking on the internet, and I got. For example, one of them is worth $130.
What?
Yeah, and that's from the Battlestar Galactica episode.
Like the original series.
Yeah, the original series.
I used to have all those too. I had the Viper, and then I had the Cylon Raider, and then of course I had the Galactica, and I had the Pegasus.
Okay, well I have the Cylon Raiders, and I have the Stealth Raider, and the Stealth Raider it's black. It's a black ship.
I don't remember.
It came out only in one episode.
I'll have to go back to watch the episode.
I have the Stealth Raider, and that's the one. It's right now. It's going online for $130 or something like that. And it's just sitting up there on my shelf.
You need to take a picture and send it to me. I got to see this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, wow.
So anyway, going back to the movies, Battleship.
Okay, so the thing about Battleship is, to me, it spent, in my opinion, because the writing was horrible for the main character. He was an okay actor, and I'm sorry, there is no amount of money that can convince me that Rihanna can act.
She can sing. I'll tell you. I'll give her that.
See, I won't even give her that. But there are people that are big fans. I just think she's stupid. You know, she's just stupid for hanging around what's-his-face that beat her up. I'm like, come on. No guy is worth that. And nobody is a man that beats up a woman.
Man, he went to town on it. Did you see those pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then she's like, but I love him. But, stupid girl.
I love him.
But she was just, I was like, could she die early in the movie? You know, please get rid of her. And I was almost that way with the main character. But obviously he was the one that had to see his mindset redeemed and realize, okay, you know what, I can stop being such a screw up. So, but the mechanism of the alien ships was pretty good. I mean, I thought it was well done. CGI was good. I don't know that I buy the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know that I buy the network of sensor buoys that are supposedly out there in the Pacific. It was too perfect and too dense, in my opinion. From what I understand, the real sensor buoys that are out there to sense tsunamis and seismic activity and stuff like that are out there. But that was their mechanism to bring the board game,
Right.
however superficially, into the movie. But I really loved the ending. I loved getting to see the old World War II vets step up to the plate and show their mettle. I thought it was cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And you get to see a wounded warrior seriously say, you know what? I ain't done yet. Even though he was kind of down on himself early in the movie. But you see him go, you know what? I got this. And I was like, yeah, man. So, you know, it was kind of neat to see the audience cheering at different points. It was kind of neat.
That's great.
So, here we go. Now, having talked about that, now we're to Prometheus. Now, I saw your post on Facebook. And I said, that's fine. But I was like, save it for the podcast. All right, so why don't you expound upon... I'm going to go get another refreshing beverage, and you start expounding on what you were talking about in your Facebook post.
You know, the movie Prometheus, I was really looking forward to it. And by the way, thanks to Dominic, who invited me to go. You know, it was my birthday, so I got to go and check out the movie last night. And of course, while we were there, I saw you leaving. You went to the earlier show. The whole thing about the Prometheus movie, it was set supposedly as a prequel to the Aliens movies, the franchise movies, and they did everything visually. It was correct. I mean, the visual aspect of the movie was great. The CGI, I liked the way you could see the ship, like, you know, cruising along.
Oh yeah,
that looked awesome. But what really bogs me is that, you know, I posted that last night. Well, should I say early this morning?
Emotions were high.
Yeah,
I had to get this out.
It was early this morning. Really, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because the movie finished up probably about midnight for you.
No, it finished like at 1:30.
I guess it didn't seem like that long a movie to me.
Yeah, it was long. In fact, I think I even took about a 5-minute nap in the theater. I missed a small little segment there.
What?
Yeah.
Man, I was riveted the whole time.
Really, it kind of was dragging a little for me. You know, it was hard to get into it. And then, of course, when they started, you know, seeing all the action and everything, that was kind of where I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. But you know, I had Dominic telling me, you know, well, this is this planet, and this was this planet, and it kind of threw me off a little bit.
Wait a minute, was Is he like a serious alien aficionado where he studied like the...
Yeah, he knows the planets and...
Nice. Okay,
You know,
he and
he-
I can talk then.
Yeah, he knows
Because
the
I'm like
planet.
reciting LV. I was like, okay, well that's it. We're talking about LV 426 over here, and I was
Exactly.
like,
He starts
okay.
telling me, well, that's not the right planet. So, and I'm like,
And that's an important point because that was intentional. But continue.
but I was thinking, wait a minute, how can that not be the right planet? The ship that crashed exactly.
Keep going. I'll fill in the blanks for you.
Okay, it crashed exactly like it did in the first movie, like in the first Aliens. That's how they found it. Well, anyway, I started thinking back about little segments that I saw in the movie, and there is this one part where they're going into the chamber where those ceramic tubes are, and if you pay it
How
close,
do you know they were ceramic?
because they look ceramic, or they were probably metal. Anyway, they were oozing, bronze stuff out of it. Anyway, so did you see the part where the one person walks on the dirt and those little
Yep.
come out of the ground? Okay, well those things morph. Because they're actually, I guess they're going
They
through...
didn't morph. They didn't morph.
What? They were that...
Again, I'll fill in the blank. What you observed is correct, but your interpretation of what happened is not
Well,
correct.
to me, I was thinking, okay, they were going through that little ooze that was coming out of those
Okay,
vials.
yes, you're correct.
And they got bigger.
Right. It wasn't that they morphed. It was that they were genetically altered by it.
Exactly. And that's where, you get the acid blood and all of that stuff. Because remember when that one guy cuts it, the acid starts coming out and,
Yep.
And then he falls... It was weird because he fell into that ooze and then his helmet just melted.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was kind of weird. Anyway, what really got me was the ending of it. To me, it left too many questions. It left the fact that, was this leading up to the original Aliens movie, or is this like 3 episodes, or 3 episodes back? I don't know. It just...
I'm dying to fill in the blanks, but I'll let you continue.
All right, well, I'm done because I need some filling in here because, it was bothering me. I liked it. The movie itself was great. It stood on its own. It didn't really need, knowing the fact that it leads up to the Aliens franchise movie or the Alien movies. That was a cool thing, but at the end, it just kind of left me like, whoa, wait a minute. They get in a ship and they fly off, and there's a wrecked one, and okay, what's going on here? Because I had seen the movie The Thing, and then the remake of The Thing.
Are we talking about like last week where we were talking about that one was actually a true prequel?
Exactly.
Where the movie ends exactly how the beginning of
the beginning of the next one. Now that is a prequel. To me, that was awesome. But now you got to fill in blanks because I'm a little lost here.
Okay, I'm looking for this website I ran across. See if I can find it again. I think this is the one. What a lot of people
thank you,
didn't
Tara.
realize.
Wishing me happy birthday.
Oh, that's right. You saw my post, right?
I did.
Okay. Here's the thing. What a lot of people didn't
Wayland Corporation.
Yes. What a lot of people didn't realize that this movie, and it's really not uncommon for movies to do this, but especially in the sci-fi horror genre, what Ridley Scott did and what the studio did with this movie was they actually put out a number of videos and a full website all about this mythical company, Wayland Industries. And so if you went to the website, waylandindustries.com, they actually have, it looks almost like a Facebook page. It's got it even talks about 50 years and counting, a tradition of innovation. And it talks about the different aspects of the company. And you can actually go to a timeline. And it talks about their module key, how Wayland Industries is into health, energy, electronics, terraforming, security, cybernetics. And if you look at, I wish I had thought far enough ahead to include this this screenshot or my screen region onto the podcast, but it actually goes back and it kind of looks like the Facebook timeline.
Yeah.
And it talks about all these innovations. Now, this other website, a blogger, took that and brilliantly goes through it and adds notes tying in bits from Alien, It's like, well, this is where this started. He actually draws the connection between the two movies or time frames, and even also kind of points to, because there are people who, for those who are familiar with Ridley Scott's work, he also did Blade Runner, and he's currently working on Blade Runner 2. There are a lot of people that have been drawing as if there are people who think that Blade Runner is in the same universe, if you will, of Alien. In other words, it's earlier time, and you see what drives them out. And so, like the cybernetic work is Weyland Corporation there. In other words, they're drawing conclusions that aren't quite there. And this guy on this blog actually goes through all of this.
Well, Dominic did say that that Wrigley is trying to incorporate the Blade Runner and the Alien and all of that kind of sort of together. I don't know if that's...
I'm not seeing any of that, and I don't... I'd have to research it more to see.
And then they're making Total Recall with Colin Farrell. Can you believe that?
As long as they don't have the whole decompression at the end where their eyes are bugging out, and then suddenly it all goes back together. Let me tell you, if you're going through explosive decompression like that, your eyes aren't popping back in your head. Sorry,
you're going to stay like that.
Yeah. Don't make that face, because it's just stay like that. But go to the website, WeylandIndustries.com, or do a search, a Bing search on Weyland Industries timeline, and you'll find this blog spot entry, and he breaks it down and even points to little pieces of here's why Blade Runner can't quite marry up, because of what the synthetics are, their time frame of what they're doing just doesn't line up with the timeline as Weyland Corporation does.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me say hi to my son Aiden. Hi, Aiden.
Hey, Aiden, are you watching?
He's watching. They're watching. Hey,
pretty soon you'll be a diver.
Pretty soon. Brandon needs to learn how to swim. He's 10. Right. He's going to be 10 already.
Oh, my gosh.
On the 25th.
Hey, you know what?
That's right.
Awesome.
Time to get you in the water, buddy.
Okay, so this goes through all of the innovations, and this blogger points where here's why this had to happen, because in Alien they had like the pod, the luxury escape pod, stuff like that. And if you look at the Prometheus, you see a lot of the design elements, the engines, the walkways in there are very much all over the Nostromo. Even the ending of the movie is almost exactly like Sigourney Weaver narrating the last surviving member of the commercial.
What threw me off, though, was in the original Aliens, the captain of the alien spaceship is still sitting on the chair, and he's got his, on the... Yeah, if you look at the original Alien movie, they find the original alien, when they hit on the planet, they find the alien ship, go in there, and that's when they find all the eggs there.
Oh, you're talking about the alien gunner.
Yeah, well,
what was called commonly over the years the gunner.
But it turns out that he's actually the pilot.
Yeah.
But if you look at his chest, he was actually in the pilot seat.
Yes.
And
because that's not the same ship.
It's a different ship.
It's a different ship. Here's what I surmise from the end.
But you see, that's what threw me off, was because if it's a different ship, this one crashes and lands exactly.
It wasn't, but it was a totally different planet. It was a totally different planet.
I guess those ships.
But you notice that she flew off in one of their ships.
Right.
Now, we did not know, because it was fossilized by the time the original Alien movie, the characters came across that ship. They did not go so far as to remove the head and hence discover it was a helmet,
right,
with a humanoid head in it. What's to say? Because who do you think was flying the ship at the end of Prometheus?
Well, you don't know.
No, I think there's only one conclusion you can draw. Because obviously David, the android, can't. He is disembodied. So
do you think there was another one of those? You think there was another one of those aliens?
Here's where I think they could go, because the opening is open. The ending is open. I think that either a sequel could turn out where she ends up in that ship or another ship like it after whatever mechanism that Ridley Scott wants to take the sequel through, and she ends up crashing on LV-426. And she is the one that's inside that inside the ship. And that, because you notice that she was still hurting in pain, so I don't know.
Maybe there was another one in there.
Exactly. I don't know. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, but it was a full-size like a huge, like.
Yes, and that's why we haven't seen the evolution of the alien that we see come out, the chest burster come out at the end of Prometheus. We do not know how it evolved into what we saw in the original Alien movie. Obviously, there's an evolution that has to happen, either through what they will play as evolution in the traditional sense, or through some further genetic recombination. Because if for those who follow the series, you know that the alien, once it's been put into the host, takes on certain aspects, certain characteristics of the host.
Right.
So there's something about it that's going to see an evolution based on the host that it's taking.
You see, that's where I was kind of disappointed about like the prequel, because it left it open for.
Ridley Scott has specifically said this is not a prequel to Alien.
Yeah, you know, he left it so open to interpretation that just leaves you guessing.
Well, that's why there will be hunger for a sequel.
Yeah, and you know, based on this one, he's going to do another one.
Oh yeah, I think what this does, it lays out nicely an opportunity to create additional timeline. Kind of like with the Wayland Corporation, because we still have to see we still have to see the evolution of Bishop and Ash and Bishop. We have to see those hinted at. Although they did the website specifically to answer, you see the development of David, and you'll see some other hints too. So go to that website; that will help.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, because.
But here's what it lays out: Ridley Scott could divide up the genesis that leads us to the Nostromo being sent, because we know that the Nostromo was a commercial ore towing ship. They went to planets and they would mine, etc.
Right.
But we don't know all of the background that led to Ash having his agenda and the special order. Was it 439?
He had special commands or something that he had to follow.
I have to look it up again.
Right.
But he had a special order, and the ship had a special order. And I imagine a number of ships had special orders. So I suspect that we will see something leading up, either in one movie or two movies or three movies, whatever Ridley Scott gets to do, that will ultimately lead to them realizing, I need to go to LV-426.
Well, like she did say at the end of the movie, and you know, she's narrating, if you know, you see a beacon or don't come to this planet, and you know, she's pretty much warning off anybody. She sends out a message, you know, if you see a beacon.
That's why I think that if he only gets to do one more film, it could be her that he actually writes into the ending of the sequel, that she is the one that's the victim of the chest burster, as we have traditionally known it, that we see at the beginning of Alien.
I'm gonna have to do some research on this, because I'm just not. It's not sitting right. In fact, I feel like vomiting just thinking about it.
Thanks. Thanks.
No, I mean, like I said, it was okay. I know that he did say it wasn't a prequel, guys.
Right.
It wasn't. You know, it's not there yet, but eventually it's gonna get to it.
Yeah.
But it was well done. Visually, it was a great movie. I would like to see the ending, and it kind of left me with that. You know, like.
See, that's why we specifically, Troy and us sat down and watched Alien again, because we were looking specifically for things that that
would
might be
indicate-
hinted at.
yeah.
That might be what might be hinted at in this movie, and we did see some of those. So it was interesting. It definitely they could make it as simple as the assumption is that she flew off in this and then crashes on LV-426, and that's what they find. Or they could do a whole movie, and it could be something else that moves there. But I think it's poignant that she said that at the end of this movie, she sees the beacon, or she talks about the beacon, which of course was automatically sent by the lifeboat.
Right.
But what the signal that the Nostromo intercepts is actually they translate it as "stay away." If you watch the movie again, they say, well, this is actually a beacon saying "stay away." So it could very easily be her at the end of whatever the sequel is going to be. I think it could very well.
I don't
be
know.
her.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, the movie does well and generates enough buzz to warrant another movie. And I'm sure he's going to make it regardless because he's Ridley Scott.
Yep.
You know, he can do whatever he wants.
That's right.
But it was, again, well done movie. It just kind of left me with that. I don't know. I was expecting
more.
a little bit
You
more.
wanted
Yeah,
more.
just a little bit more.
You know, I was reading Ridley Scott's notes about Alien, and the whole what they call the fourth act with Alien in the Narcissus, the lifeboat.
Yeah.
The movie was actually going to end with her escaping and blowing up the Nostromo, and that was it.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott felt absolutely he wanted to have this final act, this last bit. And a lot of the footage you see in there was actually test footage because the movie company said, no, it's fine. Leave it the way it is. We can't, we're out of time. We're out of money. No. So they actually they redid the bridge from the Nostromo for the interior scene of the Narcissus so they could do all that. But it was basically done in a day and a half, that whole final bit of the movie.
Little deal.
And a lot of it was test footage. They said, okay, it's good enough, and let it fly.
You know, the actual guy who designed and created the alien costume and
H.R. Giger.
Yeah, the Giger. Have you seen his artwork?
It's freaky. It's all like that biomechanics type
It's
stuff.
expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
Gosh.
he's odd to look at all by himself. He's kind of like a weird Andy Warhol-esque kind of look, who was the 80s? Blinded Me with Science.
Oh, Thomas Dolby.
Yeah, he's kind of like him, a cross between Thomas Dolby and Andy Warhol. Well, we're running late again, but that's okay. Last week was your week for a commercial, but we kind of ran things together and couldn't get it all together at the last second. But we're ready this week.
Oh, so it's my turn for a commercial.
It is your turn for the commercial.
Oh gosh, what can we talk about?
What are you going to talk about?
Good question. You know, one of the problems we're going to talk about diving now. We're going to get back into the diving thing. One of the things that people tend to not do is clean their gear. You know, we talk about maintenance of your gear, making sure that it's properly, it's operating properly because it is life support equipment.
Right.
Well, that's the same said for your wetsuit. If you're diving, depending on certain situations, the climate, depth can actually take its toll on the body. You know, the deeper you go, the colder the water, and you start losing body heat, and then things start to slow down. You get cold, and then hypothermia can set in real quick, especially in deep water. So, one of the things that is a big thing for divers is wetsuits. We got to dive with a wetsuit, and the reason why is because the water gets trapped within in the first layer of the wetsuit. So your own body temperature heats that water and keeps you warm. And as deeper you go down deeper, the water squeezes in, making that water cold, and then hence again, your body will heat it up slowly, and it just kind of keeps going. Well, wetsuits, we discussed them before. they're really well constructed nowadays. They're not like back in the old 60s and 70s where it was like a rubber tire on your
Yeah. Mike Nelson, Sea Hunt.
Exactly. They're made out of specific material. Well, you got to make sure that you take care of your wetsuit, and the best way to do that is by washing it, because you tend to dive in different elements. And I won't even go into some of the things that people do in their wetsuits, but you know, and I think you may know what I'm talking about. So if you ever do that, you got to make sure that you wash your wetsuit. And one of the products that I use is actually called, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I think it's McNett.
I think that's right.
Okay, McNett wetsuit and dry suit shampoo. This is an awesome product. I've been using it since I've been diving, which is probably about 6 years now. Picked it up at the local dive shop here. Use a small amount of it, and you can actually, you know, get it in a tub. I know that, Rob, you use a different type of technique.
Yep.
But it's still the same. It does work. But please try to do something to wash your wetsuit. This is a complete scientifically balanced maintenance system for all neoprene and water sports gear. Ideal for wetsuits, dry suits, boots, gloves, fishing waders, and orthopedic support, Lycra bodysuits, and more. So it's not only just for your wetsuit. You can use it for other things like slings and whatnot. Leaves neoprene articles free of organic residue, chlorine, and salt debris.
Nice.
Yep. The chlorine removing agent and conditioners help prevent premature aging and oxidation. One of the problems that as you're diving, your wetsuit will tend to fade. We've discussed this before. Robert's had a suit that's pretty much disintegrated over years and years of wear. He takes care of his equipment. I know he does, but it'll happen.
Yep.
But the more you take care of your equipment, the longer it'll last you. But anyway, this is an awesome product. I've been using it for a long time, but if you need any more information, you can, on the full line of the McNett products, visit your local dive shop or go to McNett.com.
There you go. Yeah, awesome job.
They-
yeah, it is good stuff.
They are also...
Oh, no. What'd you do?
My Ray-Bans fell.
Yikes.
But they are actually also the makers of one of the products that Robert and I both use, the Sea Gold.
Yes, love that stuff. Yeah, well, I have a friend of mine, retired Navy. He has his dive card is just about as old as dirt, but we used to joke about, you know, anti-fog or defogger for your mask.
And it smells good too.
It smells good. That's right, minty fresh. And he used to talk about how he had good quality spit. I do not have good quality spit. The whole idea behind stuff to defog your mask is you want something on the inside of the mask that resists condensation. That's what fogging is. People, as they dive, have a tendency to exhale through their nose. And so what happens is they exhale through their nose, and your warm, moist air that's coming out of your nose fills in the mask. And so that condensation will adhere. You know, the water temperature is almost always colder. So it's going to, that temperature differential is going to take that warm, moist air and make it adhere to the inside of the mask, creating the fog. And so you have to clear it frequently. Well, so what you want is something that resists that condensation from adhering to the material of your mask. And so that's why you have something to act as a defogger. You know, some people spit works. Some people, they can use a number of different sprays you can use. I love Sea Gold. I've advertised that on the show before, and I love that stuff.
Some of these things that you can use on your masks will actually read that you got to apply it to a dry mask.
Yes.
The Sea Gold, the one that we use, the blue, because there's a red and there's a gold one, and anyway, the blue one that we use actually can be applied to a wet mask, and it'll still work.
Right.
So it's great. Robert carries it in his BC.
I do.
You fog up, come to the surface, take your mask off, squeeze a little bit in there, rub it in there, shake it off, put it back on, and off we go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, works great stuff. But they got a full line of products, not only for wetsuits, they've got it for, you know, all kinds of things. And I picked this one up at the local dive shop. Run you about $6.50, $7. Not too bad.
Yep. Good stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. The point that Scuba Bob was referring to, that I always tell my students there are two kinds of divers. There are divers who pee in their wetsuit, and there are divers who lie about it. The simple fact is, if you're at 60 feet and you got to go,
you can't pull over to the bathroom.
That's right. That's right. You can't. No, you just can't do it. So it works. And so clean your suit. It's important.
I actually will tell you, I have not done that in my wetsuit. My full
Liar.
wetsuits. My full wetsuits.
Oh, no, he said his full wetsuit.
My full wetsuits. My Pinnacle wetsuit. I'm always so cozy and warm in that thing. It just doesn't give me the urge. The one when I came close was when we were diving the spring.
Oof.
In my 7 mil.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that water was warm. It was getting out of it.
Yeah.
Getting
No
out of
kidding.
the water was a little chilly. It gets cold in January here, guys.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before we close up, I want to go ahead and throw up some of the target dates that we have for classes as well as Balmoral trips. We got one coming up next weekend. As a matter of fact, that's going to impact our show because we won't be coming back until Sunday evening. So what we may try to do is see if we can maybe do Sunday night.
Sounds good.
On the show.
If not, we'll have the remote station.
I will be bringing my laptop, but last time, remember that their Wi-Fi wasn't really swift, and I could probably pull off, if I loaded the software, I could probably pull off a solo podcast from there, but I'd rather just try and get back, by 8 or so, and see if we can do the podcast. I'll post on the Facebook page the time and everything, but we'll try for Sunday night, see if we can do that.
Sounds good.
So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be our first, or my first trip back to Balmoral in over a year, so I'm looking forward to it, especially now that they've got it open back up. I just love diving there.
Those little amoebas, those Prometheus amoebas.
No. If I come back with a stomach ache, you'll know why. And then, of course, 13 and 14 July. You need to get in on at least one of these, man.
Oh, I'm going to. Trust me.
And then 17, 18 August. We may have a pretty good-sized group going, though, on the July one. I think I got a number of our friends, not necessarily divers, that maybe trying to get campsites. I don't know what's available. We'll probably have to call, but trying to go along as well, so we may get to do a little Discover Scuba with some folks too, which would be cool.
Yummy.
Because I'll be bringing the trailer.
Bring
the trailer. Just put new tires on the rodeo, so we'll be ready to roll. And of course, scuba classes coming up the end of this month, and of course you see the dates there: 26, 29 July after that, and 23 through 26 August. Are the planned ones. We'll probably have a couple more after that, but those are the ones for sure I've got locked down. Looks like I'll have across these next two classes. I will have another whole family certified, which is pretty cool. Got the wife is already certified. She was NAUI satisfied.
Satisfied.
Yeah, she was satisfied. She was NAUI certified as a junior open water.
Oh, okay.
So she just needs to get her stuff updated to. Wow, this is weird.
There's a little lag.
Why is there a lag?
Because you're not.
No, that's right. That's weird. Wow. Now it's back. That was odd. So, she was NAUI certified as junior, so she just has to get hers updated to adult. But her husband is going to go through the class, and then she has twin 11-year-olds and a 15-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to need
boys?
some...
Boys? Or?
I think the 11-year-olds are girls.
And when is this? June.
Well, the June one is going to be for her husband, but she kind of wants to go through the refresher.
Okay.
And
the one in July involves the girls.
Will be the girls. Now, obviously, with PADI standards, if I have 10 or 11-year-olds, I cannot have more than 2 in a class, so that's cool. But I can't have more than 4 students.
Right, without doing an assistant.
Course. So that will be a limited class anyway, so I can have one more person in that one. There's a person who actually had signed up. He's got the materials, but he hasn't coordinated dates to actually do his class, so maybe we can get him in on that one. So that pretty much covers it for this week. So check out the Facebook page for more information on the next episode. Since we will be on a trip, we will have a delayed podcast probably Sunday night, but check it out for new information. And any other last parting shots there, Scuba Bob?
No.
Go see MIB.
Yeah, I got to go see MIB. Oh, and speaking of which, just before we wrap up on the Avengers, I know you went back to see it the second time.
Yes.
Did you stay to the end? The very
Oh, absolutely.
End? Did you see?
Yes.
Wasn't that so cool?
It was. It was great. Not a word said, but it just spoke volumes.
It was cool. I liked the way Thor was sitting there. And he was just kind of looking at it, and he just reaches down and picks up that pita.
So
because during the movie, Stark goes, "I know this great place just around the corner.
Can we do this?" Yeah. So then, they check it out. So they let that be. And now what that's got us doing is it's got us hanging to the end of all the credits of any movie. We stayed to the very end of Prometheus just in case there was any.
Guys, there's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing, except if you look at the credits, the little Wayland.
Yes, I thought it was so cool.
Yeah,
I thought it was so cool. So, movie companies, I think you should take the lead from the various Marvel movies. If you really want people to hang around and watch the credits, throw some stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Throw just little bits. Outtakes are always fun, but for like serious movies, sci-fi, whatever, throw something in there. They could have taken additional footage from like these videos. You need to see these videos, like Wayland as a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Wayland. He actually does this whole TED conference thing.
Oh.
It's cool to watch.
Okay.
You see some bits. You see the introduction of David. You see him talking about himself, and it's basically a Wayland Industries advertisement.
Right.
And you see Shaw's, Dr. Shaw's video mail left for Peter Wayland, trying to convince him to fund this, take her on this Prometheus project thing. So I think companies should throw that stuff in.
Yeah,
I think that'd be really add some neat pieces to it. They could have thrown in a little advertisement for a new commercial towing vehicle, the Nostromo class or whatever, or they could have done a number of things. Class. Yeah, they could have done any number of things. Get more inventive. You'll get people to hang around and watch the credits.
Yep, you sure will.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for this week. Again, check our website. DelRioDiveClub.com, or go to we really keep active on the Facebook page, so visit Facebook.com/Del Rio Dive Club.
I do.
Yep. That's right. That's right. So, and also, if you got nothing to do and you're watching the show live, go over to Ustream.tv into the chat room and jump in. We'd love to interact with our audience. Mm-hmm. And by all means, go to YouTube and do a search for Two Guys Who Dive, and you'll be able to pull down the latest episode there. So without any other information to share with everybody, that's it for this week, and we'll see you on another episode of Two Guys Who Dive.